afternoon, good evening. It depends where you are in the world. I'm in Gambia, Cape Point, Bakau. It's evening time here. In the Far East, maybe it's early morning. In the US, it's in the afternoon. Therefore, I greet you all. This is tvafterI.com. Your host is BMT, aka Sirin Banyu. Today, our talk is episode number 1, series number 3, which I'll call Keep Gambia Green, Keep Africa Green, Keep the World Green. We focus on forestry. My first series talk about the environment, global change, climate warming, and everything that's in the environment. But that was all the historical perspective that took us to Rio, where we had a conference on environment and development. I talked about the beginning of it all in Stockholm in 1972, the conference on environment and human settlement. That's why it all started up to the point of the Brundtland report, the Brundtland Commission, the former Prime Minister of Norway, and the outcome was our common future. Talk about the environment, poverty, and social development. Then, my series number 2, I talked about water issues, the historical perspective on water from Dublin in 1992. That's why it started. The world and leaders' attention were drawn that there will be shortages of water globally. What needs to be done? All of those conferences and the documents that came out of those conferences, we have the Dublin Principles and our common future, fed into the Rio Conference on Environment and Development in 1992, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, where the issue of social development was further elaborated. As I go along with my series, I'm at a stopping point where I've stopped. That's Rio. So this whole week I'm talking about what happened at Rio. The climate, what came out of Rio, the establishment of the United Nations Framework on Climate Change, UNFCCC. That's one of the outcome of Rio. And then water, which was chapter 13, started the discussion of the water dome. So a lot of things came out of Rio on water, but it started from Dublin. Today, talking about forestry, still at Rio, the outcome of the document, which is Agenda 21, Chapter 11, is the forest principles. That's what I would like to talk about today. The forest principles are extremely important in our discussion what happened globally as far as forests are concerned. You know, the Rio Conference is known as the Earth Summit. And the Earth Summit, one of the outputs is the Global Forest Principles adopted in Rio de Janeiro, Agenda 21 as the document known, Chapter 11, which constitutes the first global conservation, management, and sustainable development of all types of forests. Consensus was reached. But these principles are non-legally binding. The principles promote balancing economic exploitation with conservation, strengthening of national capacities, and binding. That's very important. We have to reach consensus. It was difficult to have any legal document that was legally binding. At that time, the world was divided into forest area, forest ecosystem, like the Amazon, the Indo-Malaysia forest, and the Congo Basin. They have their own group. They want to protect what they own. Because the world was saying that those forests belong to the entire world because they serve an important ecological system as common sink and support our life. Therefore, it's a common property. But the countries where they are located refused that it's theirs. There should be any legal binding. Then you have other countries that are called low forest cover, led by Iran. A lot of debate has happened because these countries don't have much forest, no forest cover, and it has to have a special management system. So we have in Rio the non-binding, non-legally binding principles to promote balancing economic exploitation with conservation, strengthening national capacities, and combating deforestation. These are that's the rest on that. But the forest principles do have certain important aspects. What was the purpose? The purpose was to promote the principles often referred to forest principles, provide framework for sustainable management of forest cover. The Rio was based about sustainable management, sustainable development. So the forest principle proposed is to provide a framework for sustainable management of global forests. The principles, we have two basic paragraphs that are very important. One is called balance. That's balancing forest conservation and protection with sustainable utilization to meet social, economic, and ecological needs. This, in a nutshell, is saying that the forest plays multiple functions, and there must be a balance. There must be a balance on forest conservation. You cannot just say forest conservation as let's conserve the forest. The forest is provided to is there to provide goods and services for mankind. Therefore, there must be a balance on the goods and services that it provides. Yeah, you also need to protect the forest, protect from a lot of things. I've seen a lot of things happening, cutting forests for habitat, human settlement, cutting forests for infrastructure, cutting forests for agriculture. We need to protect forest. To do all of those things, one has to do a complete study to see where is the balance. The other time I talk about equilibrium. In forest we are talking about the balance. And also sustainable utilization. We utilize forest goods, but where we utilize them, are they sustainable? To give you an example, when charcoal was being banned in Gambia in the 80s, the thinking was that to produce 1 kilo of charcoal, you need to burn about 10 kilos of wood. 1 ton of charcoal, 10 tons of wood. Therefore, the utilization was not, and the production of the charcoal was not efficient. We are doing a lot of cutting to get end product that is about 1/10 of the original material. Also, the principles talk about to meet the socio-economic and ecological needs. There is need for economic development. There is also social needs in forest. If you go to Piran or anywhere you go around in the Gambia, if you see a thick forest cover, still natural forest remaining because it's providing some social services that is providing. In Pirang, that is Pirang forest that is intact, few they didn't want governments or a super body to start and say to come up with laws and regulations that will inhibit countries or nations to use their forests for economic development, etc. So the sovereign rights of nations. In any convention or protocol, there is always the sovereign rights of nations. So these are the two main principles in the forest non-binding principles. That's very important to bear in mind. As we go along, any forester, anywhere you are, goes within Gambia, in Nigeria, in Kenya, bear in mind what is happening in your country, whether this, what I'm talking about, linked with your practices there. Now, you have the principles, but you have key issues addressed. The most number one issue, the most important priority urgent was combating deforestation. During the period, there is a lot of deforestation, either by cutting a lot of the forest for economic activity, for timber production and sell, or for pulp, or bushfire, etc. So one of the key issues addressed was fighting deforestation. In Gambia, we still talk about fighting deforestation because it still happens here. We are seeing it in different forms. We have seen areas that are being cut and given to communities to settle as new settlement. That's deforestation. So one of the areas was that. The second area addressed was sustainability. That is promoting sustainable forest management and rehabilitation of degraded lands. Not only do we encourage forest management, but land that are degraded needs to be rehabilitated. Take an example here in Gambia. You've seen a lot of quarries, when they're building roads. There are a lot of areas that are being built for quarry, laterite mining, but at the end, when they finish, it's not rehabilitated. It should be go back to its original form, cleaning the area. So this is one of the areas that was addressed, that there should be promotion of sustainable forest management and rehabilitation of the degraded land. We have a lot of degraded land, in the North Bank, where agriculture was being practiced and no longer practiced, and the land has been degraded because of human activities. That needs to be rehabilitated. And then the third one is international cooperation. We cannot do all of this alone. We, especially developing countries, we need support from our development partners, those in the north, either financial or technical cooperation to support the forest management. In the 80s, we had GDZ, now GIZ, that supported our program in the Gambia by protecting our forest parks. They are all fenced. As I said, no hunting, no grazing, no cutting. They were all fenced. Monkey Park was established during the period. We have USAID that supported village woodlots. So we have development partners that came and helped us. Therefore, you need the international cooperation if you want to achieve. Because we do not have the resources, in countries to do all of this contribution. Otherwise, we just cut the forest to sell, to have income, foreign exchange. But if you have cooperation, international cooperation, they can help you in all of that. Then the other area that was addressed called the role of forests. The recognition of the ecological, climatic, social, cultural, and economic contribution of forests. That's the multiple functions of forest. It plays an important role that should be recognized: the ecological, the climatic, the social, the cultural, the economic contribution of forest. I've mentioned that. Period. You have the socio-cultural. You have also the ecological, holding the soil. climate that provide rains. So these are very important to recognize. Now, what happened at Rio is that after that, there has to be an institutional framework. The United Nations Forum on Forest, UNFF, was created so that it will be a forum for foresters to gather and talk about all of these issues and to come with implementation plans and how to implement these plans. The UNFCCC was provided, and the IPF, the International Principles of Forest. So the UNFF, UN Forum on Forest, when established in 2000, was to monitor the implementation of the principles. I happen to have been a member of that UNFCC for 15 years, not 50 days. During my tenure as the head of Forest and Ecosystem at UNEP, it was established in 2000 and I left UNEP in 2003 for 3 years as a member. But there is a precursor to that, the IPF, that was the forum that we were using as for the implementation of the forest principles. So the major areas of the Chapter 11, which is the forest, were policy, institutional, sustaining the multiple roles of forest. As I said before, forest will have multiple roles. Therefore, when we address the forest, we have to address the multiple roles of forest, not only the wood production side of it, but the climatic, ecological, as I said before, the economic part of it. You have to look at all of those and address them in a holistic way. Another area in that chapter was the management stroke conservation, enhancing protection, sustainable management, and reforestation. These are very important. You have the management and conservation to enhance the protection and sustainable management of and reforestation. Reforestation is still taking place. When I came to Gambia and became Director of Forestry, it was a big thing. What we have called tree planting. The tree planting is part of reforestation. There were a lot of initiatives. During that time, it was only the forestry department doing it. Now we have a lot of private sector doing it. Bill Kamomoyo, whom I admire, an artist, he has a program every year to plant trees all over the country, and I'll invite him one day. We talk about it. His target is 1 million trees. You have also the Green Wall, from Dakar to Djibouti. There's protection to restrict the movement of the desert southwards. The desert was moving about 1 inch per annum southwards. Therefore, the grading of the green belt or the green wall. The meeting was in Dakar in 1985. I participated, and that's why the idea came. It's the time of the youth, and decided that we should have that wall to stop coming. There's a protection and also reforestation. Then another important area that was addressed is utilization, promoting efficient, sustainable use of forest products. Like, for example, making charcoal. The way we make charcoal, is it efficient? Is it an efficient utilization of our trees? Like I said, you need 1 ton, 100 tons of charcoal. Like 10 kilograms of charcoal. You need to burn 10 kilograms of charcoal. You need to burn 10 kilograms of charcoal to have 1 kilogram of 10 kilograms of wood. You burn to have 1 kilogram of charcoal. 100 kilograms of wood you burn to have 10. 1 million to have 1,000. 1 to 10. So is that an efficient way? That's why, and it was banned. Production was banned because we are cutting a lot of wood to make charcoal, and not an efficient way of using our forest products. The same cellulose, our paper. Paper is made from cellulose. So is that an efficient way of making paper? No. We use a lot of wood to make papers. So therefore, the utilization is important, promoting efficient, sustainable use of forest products. And the fourth and most important is capacity building. We can have all of the technology, all of the financial resources, but if you don't have the capacity to implement this, you will not go anywhere. That's why it's important to do training, and capacity building is not only training. Forest is doing a lot at Kafuta Training School, NGOs, and talking to the communities, going to the bantabas, discussing with them, showing them how to manage a nursery, how to plant seedlings, how to take care of them, how to avoid bushfire, fire breaks. That's all creating capacity. These things need to be done. It is extremely important. Now, let us stop Rio in 1992. Now, Gambia, where are we in implementation of Rio? I would say I'll give a shout to Sadauda Kereba Jawara. In 1997, Sadauda made a declaration called the Banjul Declaration for the conservation of our flora and fauna. This declaration is extremely important. That's 1977. That was before the entire world met in Rio talking about forest and all of these forest principles. Gambia, we have started. Yes, the Banjul Declaration. I give a shout to Sadauda. The Banjul Declaration, a landmark 1977 environmental conservation declaration issued by Sadauda Kereba Jawara, our first president. It was a formal pledge to protect the country's endangered wildlife and natural habitat. That's important. Gambia used to be rich in wildlife and our natural habitat, the forest. Sadauda made a pledge in this government to protect the wildlife. So, and the forest. So in 1992, as the world was grappling what to do with forest, Sadauda has already put in the declaration. For Gambia should be a front runner leading the world in forest protection, development, system management of forests. Sadauda, you have done it for us. What did you say when you signed? Still on Sadauda in 1977. He said, I signed the Banjul Declaration to complement legislation to protect our flora and fauna. I was doing so perhaps when it is too late to save our fauna and flora. The remaining that we have should be conserved. He said the whole subject of the continuing damage to the environment has always left me with a particular ambivalence in the sense that while we design programs and policies for development, much of the growth, especially in urbanization and road construction and settlement, threaten environment. They terribly depleted our forest heritage and animal resources. The disappearance of our virgin forest would also mean the disappearance of a social cultural civilization and predict the doom of our continued existence as human beings. Sadauda Kereba Jawara, as they say. This is so very important. What I urge government, you have an opportunity. The vision of Sadauda, to live it and walk the talk. Whatever sacrifice